Hey, everybody, welcome to Love and Relo, the voice of the relocation industry. I am here with Bob Portale from Relo Direct. So blessed, so honored to have you, Bob. How are you doing today?
Woohoo! I'm doing great.
This is awesome. So I'm in Dallas, Texas. Where are you, Bob?
I am in the lovely suburbs of Chicago, Naperville, Illinois.
Naperville.
And you guys are
Nice.
having a little peek into my home.
Yeah, where are you right now? Where's the Studio Bob right there? Is that what
Studio
you're looking at
Bob.
right now?
Okay, so I'm in my home. I kicked my wife out and my granddaughter. I said, listen, I need it quiet in here. I don't need any, 10-year-olds running around with their devices. It's like, out. So
Very important things going on today here
Absolutely.
in Studio Bob. Unlike most days, this right here. Oof. All right, we've got a bunch of people checking in right now. Let me know who you are, where you are, what you're up to right now. Where's your home studio these days? Let us know. We got people checking in on LinkedIn. Tons of people coming in. Hit that like button. Lets everybody know that we are live here. A lot of people coming in. This is great. We're having a lot of fun. Let's see here. We got Tim, Quirk, Bob, and Ben. Hello from sunny Western New York. Tim's filling in for super producer Stacy. So if you notice a drop in the production quality, sorry, it's temporary. She'll be back next week. Sherelle Kilgore. Woo! Hold on.
Sherelle.
Woo! Howdy, Bob and Ben. That's a good Texas woo. You gotta have a Texas. Here, Betsy from the Shy. Betsy Ortolano. That's great. Love Bets. Sandra Clary, hi Bob, great to see you. Your team is wonderful, and I can't wait to hear your insights today.
Awesome, my team is wonderful. Thanks.
Speaking of your wonderful team, we got Raphael Mathis here. Hey Bob and Ben.
I already told Raph. I said, listen, I got big shoes to fill. How is it I'm following him? He's epic.
Well, I mean, he's the one that's like, who you need to have on here. You need to have Bob Portale on here, and I'm like, you think I can get Bob? You think I can get Bob? Can you send me Bob's email? I'm gonna get. So, but now I remember when Raphael came on, his top five. I don't know what kind of top five you got planned for us today, but his top five,
right,
was pretty epic, and it was the top 5 best Chicago foods.
Right. It was pizza Chicago foods. But I just want to throw this out here.
It was controversial.
Right, yeah, I'm throwing it down because the truth be told, Raphael is one of the pickiest eaters I've ever met. So I'm just saying, Rob, I am showing you the love, but when it comes to the best places to eat in Chicago, I'm not listening.
There you go. I love it. Picky eaters. I don't know about them. I don't know. Stacy, hi Bob and Ben. This is guaranteed to be the most entertaining show.
Hey Stacy.
Mary Beth Nitz checking in. Awesome. Tom Brune from Denver, Colorado at Ineo. Awesome. Right. Cindy Salter. What's up, Cindy?
Great to see everyone.
Isn't this good? Look at Evan. Look at Evan took the day off to be here. Hello from Bob's Lake House. You let me stay here for a long weekend. What a guy.
Yeah, Lake Portale. All are welcome.
Nice. Now, Bob, one thing I know, so this is really cool because I've always kind of, I'll be honest with you, I kind of always admired you from afar. Like we'd kind of like, hi and bye. We kind of, saw each other, knew of each other, talked maybe briefly before. But this is exciting because we're going to really get to know each other today. Yeah. But one thing I did know about you before I got to know you personally was you have a real passion for fishing.
Oh, yes. So, okay, let me
tell me about this.
I need to clarify a couple things here. I am not afraid to try any new hobby, right? So, I will say this only for the purposes of comedy. I happen to live on a golf course. Now, anyone that knows me knows I might be the worst golfer they've ever seen. My golf coach once told me, he said, Bob, I got to tell you, you have one of the most beautiful swings I've ever seen. And I said, I know. See, I have tons of potential. He goes, why are you so bad? So I am. And anybody who's on the line who's ever golfed with me knows that's the case. However, so I said, you know what? I need some kind of hobby that I can do. So
Jack Craven's chiming in. Yes, Bob is not good at golf.
Yes.
Sherelle says, let's hear a fishtail, Bob. Go for it.
But now fishing, again, kind of a similar story. Anybody who was with me in the early moments of fishing, early days, early months, early years, would also attest that I'm not the greatest fisherman either. But my method is I have about 2 or 3 lures that I love. I keep them tied onto my rod, and that's all I use. I don't go out with a tackle box. I don't go out with anything else. I just have my 2, 3 lures that I use. I'm good to go.
What happens if a fish, like, what happens if it cuts the line, though?
Yeah, it's a real problem. It's a real problem.
That's what I got the net for.
That's why I bring 3 rods with me.
Okay. Most people bring a tackle box so they can tie new lures on the rod. He just brings 3 rods, and it's like, hey, if I'm on my 3rd rod, you know, it's going to be a short day.
Ben, I'm also getting older now, so I need glasses wherever I go. So, you know, my vanity prevents me from taking it when I'm fishing.
Well, don't scare the fish. Leave them at home. All right, let's see here. So what do you go fishing for up at the lake?
Bass and pike. Yeah,
bass, straight bass, homie. There we go. Alan Molesky says you are the worst golfer, Bob. Yes. And Chip Wagner speaking the truth about golf.
So I don't know if anybody saw the foundation picture that was put up last fall for the charity golf event, and it was with Chip's wife and my wife, and we happened to just basically walk out into my backyard and pose for a picture to simulate our round of golf. So thankfully, our scores were never submitted. We didn't actually play golf, and I think it was probably for the best.
That's great. Well,
I will say this though: the foundation golf event is coming up again, and I will be participating. And I challenge anyone out there to try and beat my score this year. That I will be posting legitimately.
Legitimate scores? We taking how many?
Sure. Oh, when I play, I play for real.
Yeah. Nice. Well, that's good. That's great. Let's see. Keith Michelson says you could always use TNT if you run out of fishing lures. That's great. William Wiggins checking in here. Too excited to see this one today. Hello, Bob and Ben. Hey, William. It's good to see him. Look at all these folks checking in. This is great. We got a bunch of people checking in. I want you to go ahead and do me a favor if you're watching this right now. Go ahead and leave one question for Bob. I've got a bunch of questions for Bob. But, Bob, you've got such a great community around you and so many people. When I told them that Bob Portale was going to be on, we got so excited about this. People are coming in. We got Faye, Britt, Aaron, Kelly. This is awesome. Raphael taking exception to being called a picky eater. Fine.
Yes, totally.
He knows it's true. He's laughing because it's true. Ashley, this is great. I want to hear your questions for Bob. I will get to all of them, or at least try to. Go ahead, leave those in there. But I'm going to. Oh, Chip! Everybody beat a higher score than you. Stacy's like, I'm taking the challenge. Call it the Bob Portale challenge. If you cannot beat Bob's score, then it becomes the ice bucket challenge. So just remember. This is great. Aaron's happy. Dano's happy. To Bob, golf is a 4-letter word. That's great. 10 times, 1 time. Okay, leave your questions in the comments. I'm going to ask Bob those questions. We're going to switch it real quick here, and I want to talk about kind of some serious stuff, okay? Not too serious, not for too long. But I do want to talk about the way business has changed. I always, whenever I have leaders and leaders of RMCs on, I really like to ask this question: how has your business changed in the last 14 months due to the pandemic?
It has changed quite a bit. So when you look at it from the technical side, right? So we can talk volume, we can talk service mix, we can talk clients, all of those sorts of things. And have those things changed? Absolutely. I think what we're seeing is an acceleration in the changes that were already it taking place. So from my perspective, we had already been shifting sort of our mindset around sort of a consumer mindset, because frankly, that's what the current buying generation and all subsequent buying generations for the foreseeable future are really going to be focused on their individual needs. So
what does that mean? Yeah, Bob, explain to us just a little bit. What does that mean, and how is that different kind of than maybe the approach that we've taken in the past?
Well, I think some of the terms we've been hearing a lot in the industry are terms like self-service, lump sum, right? What that really is saying, I think, to all of us is that employees view themselves as consumers, like they do in any other transaction in any other way. And so it's more about how we align our services to not cut out the corporate client, but really more so provide services at the point of sale. And frankly, a lot of the lessons that we've learned at our company really come by the luxury I have, if you will, of sitting around with a board of directors who all make up some of the finest independent real estate companies around the country, around the world. And they're talking constantly from a consumer mindset. And so when you see these things starting to take shape in real time, both in tech, and we can certainly get into things like iBuyers and others, but these are manifestations, in my opinion, really driven from a consumer need, but really take all of the things that we as an industry, the relocation industry, have been providing with corporate backing and government backing for decades.
It's so interesting because I've been doing this show now for about a year and a half, and the first half of that tenure, I probably focused on my disdain for lump sum policies for a long time, right? And I'll be honest with you, it was kind of a recurring joke. And I did believe that lump sum and self-service was really probably an existential problem for our industry. Mm-hmm. I may be changing my mind on that, and it sounds like that you are really focused on adapting to this trend instead of fighting this trend. Definitely. I think that there's a lot of wisdom in that. But how are you and how can we adapt to meet the needs of this type of consumer?
So if you take away the sponsored part of the move, right, and just look at it from the employee perspective, and again, putting that consumer hat on or retailer hat on, you can see that a lot of these sort of niche services that are starting to pop up are basically the services and benefit pieces that we've been providing for again, decades. So iBuying is no different than a home buyout, right? Now we're starting to see programs that are
how so? I want to understand that. You said iBuying is no different than a home buyout. Sure. First of all, explain what the term iBuyer means, just for those out there who are uninitiated.
Sure. So iBuying is simply a way for you to find a buyer for your home. There are a handful of companies out there that do this, that will basically give you an instant offer, right? That's where the I is coming from. The value is created by an algorithm. Right now, that value comes from predictable styles of homes in predictable neighborhoods, in pocket markets that really, again, fit that sort of very specific profile. You can go in a few clicks of a button, you'll have an instant offer. That offer you can accept. You'll be out of that property within a couple weeks, and you're on to bigger and better things. Just looking at that as the traditional, typical, again, I know we're talking about a home buyout in the traditional sense that probably is not very prevalent anymore. But when it was in its heyday, that purpose was the same thing. The employee in that case had a mission, needed to get from point A to point B in a very finite amount of time, and needed that that offer to be able to do those things.
Yeah.
So
that's really interesting comparing iBuying to home buyouts, because home buyout, I mean, we're familiar with that. Like, okay, company's going to buy your house. I mean, all right, fine. But to compare the two and say, well, we were making decisions kind of virtually in the past to do this.
Right.
So that's kind of a new reframe that I think is really important to understand. So how does that inform what does that tell you about the iBuying trend?
So, you wonder, is this trend here to stay? As long as there is a need to exit a property in a finite amount of time, there's going to be this model. Now, will the algorithms improve? Will the market expand to include atypical homes? Probably at some point in time. The fact of the matter is the companies that are doing this right now, it accounts for 1% of the total transactions out there. It may grow, it has grown, but you have to say, you step back and say, well, why are they doing this to begin with? Right? Because they're not making money on these things. The reason they're doing it is because it brings referrals into their companies. Right.
Well, and yeah, I mean, and it seems like the market is demanding it. I mean, I guess I want to ask the people that are watching right now. We got oh gosh, 45 people on LinkedIn right now, a bunch of people on Facebook right now. I want to know, what do you think about this iBuyer trend? And does it have a place in relocation, in corporate relocation? I'd love to hear it in the comments. Let us know about iBuyers. We got some amazing folks out there watching right now. I'd love to hear your take on this. So Bob, what do we do? Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I was just going to add, and whether or not it even has a place in relocation or not, the idea of again, pivoting to recognize a consumer model that has applicability in our space, but already had it as in the form of a guaranteed buyout. That's sort of that correlation that needs to be made with all of the types of services we can provide. So yesterday, John was talking about loss on sale. There's equity advances. There are private equity companies out there right now who are making big pitches to do the things that we already do as an industry, again, through corporate sponsored programs and government sponsored programs.
That's so interesting. And I've seen to your point about, private equity and capital coming in and investing in business models that are already existing, but are just packaged differently. It's so funny. I mean, I'm amazed at how much private equity is getting into the storage, the storage space, right? To all these new, like, hey, we have storage off-site, and then we can bring it to you when you want it. And it's like, that's a moving and storage, because people have been doing this for 120 years.
That's right.
Like this is not a new thing, but they have a fancy new logo and it's digitized and whatever. And there's 2,000 companies in the country that are doing this with a windfall warehouse management system right now. So I think it's really interesting, to your point, when you look at things through a different lens, you can see, hey, maybe we're better positioned than we thought we were.
And how do we capitalize on the networks that we already have established? And maybe it's reversing the supply chain a bit, and so going to that point of sale, that point where the consumer enters the market, and giving them an alternative that we're able to provide. Right? I look at our client base, I look at their employee population, and I think, okay, and I know where some minds can go, and certainly my mind went there as well. Oh, this is just another form of affinity that has been around forever. All the relocation management companies and other companies have affinity style services. But I think you got to take it to the next level, which is, what's the service? Yeah,
I mean, and when I hear affinity, to be honest with you, it doesn't really get me excited, right? I mean, everybody's got an affinity program. I'm aware of a couple that have done really big things, like the USA, program and other things. Because if you get enough, because it's a numbers game, if you get enough input, you'll have some output. But generally speaking, as a salesperson, as a person that's managed sales organizations, we did not convert affinity very high. Right. It's like here's a list of names, go call them, and good luck with that, right? It wasn't as sticky as the what you call the sponsored relocation, right? Which the company says I'm paying for it, use these people. And what I'm seeing, as a salesperson is every iteration it gets less and less sticky, and I'm like, okay, well, am I going to be able to convert this or not? Does the way I have to do business as a supplier change? Do I have to be more aggressive? Because I think maybe we had gotten complacent with corporate business as well, right? Because it comes in as a done deal, maybe we weren't working as hard for it, So it's really interesting. I'd love to hear what you think out there around iBuyers, around the changing way that people are purchasing relocation services, and how we might equip ourselves to address that. So throw it in the comments. Let us know your thoughts on iBuyers. Looks like Keith says iBuying is not for me, especially in this market. How does the state of the current market, or how does that play into whether or not this is a good idea?
It's not a good idea right now. I mean, the market has come. The market has for iBuying. The market for iBuying is basically dried up, right? Because there is no inventory out there. People know this. They can put their home on the market and within hours have multiple offers. So the idea of needing the benefits that iBuying provides is less attractive, right? The attraction being, I don't have to clean up my home. I don't have to do any improvements. I don't have to do these things. I can be out of it in 2 weeks. Well, because the market is so darn competitive, buyers are coming in, buying as is, removing all those contingencies, making that sale as lucrative or more lucrative because it's competitive than an iBuyer would.
Yeah, and let's face it. I mean, iBuyers, the game is to go in and kind of lowball people, and you're saying, "Hey, it's super convenient. I'm gonna show you a number. You either want it or you don't want it. Maybe I can catch it. Maybe I can catch you in a very complacent situation. Maybe somebody just passed away. You gotta look, get rid of the property, or maybe something's happening. And you just don't want to go through the process. So they kind of throw you a number. And you're like, oh gosh, that sounds like a pretty decent number. Not knowing what the market will bear, you do that, and then they make money on the spread, right? Turning and selling it as a sophisticated seller. So you're right. And when the market is actually right now overbidding every price, the strategy of going in and underbidding, the market doesn't make a lot of sense. Faye's got a comment here. I'd love to hear everybody's thoughts on iBuyers and if this is something that we can learn from. Faye says, I think iBuying for the relo market makes sense, but how do you feel the sight unseen aspect would be handled, since that differs from the traditional BVO, GBO?
Yeah, again, from my perspective, it's really about having a pricing model that makes sense. Again, a consumer is saying, I know you're pricing that into your offer already. I know you're pricing the risk that you're taking on. It's kind of like some of the pricing models you see in our space, right? In traditional BVO, GBO scenarios, again, depending on the pricing model, you're passing some of those costs through to the corporation, right? Or there's inherent risk. With the iBuying situation, again, they're somewhat doing the same thing. They're pricing it into their model, and they know on a fair percentage they're going to lose money, and on a great percentage they're going to make money. But again, that's not their end game. Their end game isn't to make a significant amount of money on that segment. It's on all of the other interested parties who are reaching out to click and see if they want to get an offer. Now they got a lead, and that's what they're paying for. So it's a loss leader in that sense, but it's one that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, interesting. Victoria says, I think from a relocation perspective, it could be a problem if the employee ends up taking a loss. They may look to the company to make up the difference. Interesting. That's a good segue into another question I have about home sale benefits. Yesterday we were talking to John Moriali, a little bit about home sale benefits. will home sale benefits, traditional home sale benefits, ever kind of come back in the way that they were before?
So my crystal ball.
Yeah, dust it off. Let's do it.
In my opinion, having been in the industry for 30 plus years and seeing this pendulum swing back and forth, and as much as I'd like to say things are so different now because of technology, or things are so different because of these other reasons, there is a pendulum effect to it that says to me, at some point in time, markets change. I think even John alluded to it yesterday. And so the idea still of talent being scarce, needing to get your talent where you need them, all of the components around millennials moving to the suburbs and families and schooling, all those things are now just becoming the big topics of interest, which tells me then at some point markets will adjust and the need for movement will exist. And within that need for movement, I think will be some of the benefits that we once, again, we thought, oh, this is done, it's over. But at one point in time, they were absolutely the benefits that were required because of the market and what was happening at that point in time. The other thing I want to mention that no one actually still talks about, in my opinion, is it's still one of the few, if not the only, benefit out there that has that tax benefit to it, right?
That's a great point.
So it's still worth it. And when the market changes and values of properties decline, or there's, again, those sorts of issues that cause an employee to say, I'm not interested in moving, then the value of those benefits returns.
So you're saying what benefits are offered have less to do with trends around it and more to do with market factors
and demographics.
Influence it.
Yeah.
And so you talk about demographics for a minute. I want you to keep that crystal ball out just for a moment. What are you're in Chicago, and this is a great town to examine. Yeah. City versus suburbs. Yeah. Right. Where do people want to live? Where are they fleeing to? Or are they fleeing? Are they just going and then come right back? What do you think is the trend around that? Is this going to the suburbanization permanent? Just a trend? Where do you see happening?
Again, if you point to demographics, right? I think it's inevitable that quality of life, schooling, neighborhoods, community, all of the things that a suburban environment offers are still important. It wasn't all that long ago when we were talking about the McMansions and would we ever be able to sell another home again? It didn't take long for us to figure out there's no problem.
That's crazy. You're right. Those are exactly what's going right now.
Right.
And they can't go fast enough, and they can't go, right. The price is no object, it seems like at this point.
Again, the accelerant was certainly COVID. There's no doubt. But the makings of it, the seeds of that were already there. They were already planted.
I want to go back just real quick to the consumerization of our business, right? And it definitely, lump sum is huge, and then the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act that came into play, making household goods and other services, taxable as income to the employee. To me was a very, very negative impact to for our business. And I wonder why do you think that consumerization is so big? And then what do we do with that? Let's assume that trend is here to stay.
Yeah.
How do we change our business to meet that need?
Right.
And actually capture those opportunities? Because it's super hard to compete right now with Google, with Amazon, with all the places that people are looking to buy Zillow's out there offering instant bids on things. It's getting dicey out here.
Right. But they're offering instant bids for a fee, right?
For a premium that's probably baked into the price.
Right. No, it's disclosed. They know what that percentage is. So my point, in saying that is, the thing that we as an industry suffered from and talk about incessantly is the downward pressure from being able to assess fees to lower fees to no fees to we'll give you money. That was, again, a trend that we created. I think on the consumer side, there's still that opportunity for value creation. Consumers are willing to pay for perceived value. So to me, it represents an opportunity to create something of value that isn't just affinity, but create something of value that a savvy consumer is willing to pay for. Now you're talking about something a little different. Because again, being able to self-select and live anywhere you want, which again, what this pandemic has brought to us is that awareness that, hey, quality of life matters, and I might want to live somewhere else. And if I'm able to do that, and my employer says I can do that, well, I might be able to pay for that service to ensure a smooth transition.
Are employers going to let people work anywhere? Is work from anywhere a real thing, do you think?
I think there are elements to it for sure that are a thing. It depends on the company. It depends on their tax situation. It depends on how they're structured. But certainly I think there is an element that says, yes, if our business model says, I just need this talent, and I don't necessarily need this talent in this particular location, sure. I don't think it's either or. I think it's and.
Okay. Interesting. We've got some we got some comments here, some technical difficulties. Chip, I'm not sure if it's a user error or if Chip is actually having issues out there, but he's lost a video feed. Chip, the audio is riveting. Hang in there. Diane also is having an issue. Maybe you guys can Facebook's running. Hop over on the book. Looks like our numbers on the book. Look at people are just so responsive. Right, look at the redundancies. We got continuity plans, Bob.
That's what it's all about.
Things are happening. Liz Martin over here.
Hey,
how do
Liz?
I pronounce this word? Is this
Bobo.
Bobo or Bobo? Okay. Bobo. All right. Now switching gears here just for a moment here, because there's something you and Liz have in common.
Yes.
Totally. The affinity for the DJ. There you go. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yes. I do have a history as a mobile disc jockey. I would love to say that I introduced Liz to the field, but no, I did not. Her father did. But I will say I have coached her many a time on the effective and right way to teach the electric slide.
Well, can you walk us through that right now? Maybe something we can actually use. Yeah. Forget iBuyers. Forget all this other cockamamie stuff here. Yeah. Let's talk about what we can use at least 3 times a year.
Listen, people were talking for years about their side hustles, and before side hustles were a thing, this guy, he was out there side hustling, doing weddings, parties, bar mitzvahs, the whole thing. Oh yeah.
Nice.
And
what made you get out of that and get into the relo biz, Bob? Because
it was at the same time. It was at the same time. But yeah. So, because I could be a counselor by day and a DJ by night, making good money. Yeah.
How? Let me ask you this. Let me ask this question a different way. How old were you when the relo money actually exceeded the DJ money?
Yeah, it was many years. Put it this way: I was DJing. I moved from Detroit to Connecticut, from Connecticut back to Detroit, from Detroit to Kansas City, from Kansas City to New Jersey, and that takes us up to 2000. I was DJing up until then.
Wow.
So I started started in the early 90s, 91. And so did it for about 10, 12 years. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Can I get an electric slide tip though, please? Because I worry that I've been doing it wrong this whole time.
Well, first of all, the electric slide and all these other line dances, people try to merge them all together and they're all the same dance. They're not the same dance. In the electric slide, there's a roll and a pickup that you got to go way down, pick it up, and then shift. But there's other dances, they try to mix in the sort of the country boot stepping thing. That's a totally different dance.
Nice. And then the Cupid shuffle as well.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I will say this, as fine a DJ as I protest to be, my daughter, who got married a few years back, would not allow me to even spin the discs even once.
Yeah, you can't DJ your daughter's wedding. I mean,
I know, but
you were trying to. You're trying to give it the toast and like play your own, play your own background track and everything.
Absolutely.
Wind beneath my wings while you're giving the toast. You're trying to scratch it.
Absolutely.
That's great. Liz Martin says, haha, I love this so much. Best side job ever. Bob carried record cases. For God's sakes, this is great.
I did. Vinyl.
Chicago is hosting the ERC conference in the fall.
I'm so glad you said that. I have one pitch to make in this whole thing.
Let's do it.
So I sit on the foundation board of trustees. I'm thrilled to be a part of the organization. Did you know plans are underway at this very moment? I can't give too much away because there is some element of surprise. But
teaser.
Here's the teaser. There is a venue, brand new. What I'll say is it's Navy Pier, but it's brand new. It's going to be the hottest rooftop venue for as many as 900 people. And we're going to be there.
Nice.
So I'm trying not to let too much out of the bag because, hey, this is all going to be for charity. It's going to be a fantastic event. I've got a great team, Jennifer Brain, Evan Miller, a whole cast of characters are going to put this thing together. And I really think I'm seeing it as our coming out party.
Is this for the foundation?
Yes, it is. It's going to be the gala.
So this is the gala. So this is like kind of like the festival kind of thing.
Yep.
The gala thing. And is that on the Thursday night or the Wednesday night?
Good question. I'm not sure off the top of my head.
It's the Thursday night. I don't know.
Thanks for that.
If there's if anybody's got a link to that or any kind of a sign up or anything like that, it's been released.
At the very least, go to the foundation website. Follow us on LinkedIn. We only have 200 followers, so I'm hoping that every person who's listening today, at the very least, goes to LinkedIn and follows us on the foundation page.
So, Bob, what I want to do is I want to throw a party in Chicago with Liz Martin, and I think we should do it as the after party to the party you're throwing.
I love it.
And then you and Liz can battle. You and Liz can battle on the ones and twos.
Absolutely. Let's make that happen.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. Oh, this is how things are coming together. We're crowdsourcing ideas. People are going to Facebook. Some people are still here. They can't hear anything. They can't see anything. They're still on though, which demonstrates incredible commitment right now. Liz is talking trash. I will smash him. So this is amazing. This is great. If you're having issues seeing it, go to Facebook and YouTube. That's awesome. Ed Quartolo does have a question. Bob, can you demonstrate the electric slide? LOL.
I don't have enough cord.
Don't have enough cord. Bob Portale doesn't have enough cord. All right, here we go. I did have a question though, kind of talking, moving into kind of more back into kind of how you look at running an organization and leadership and things like that. And I want to talk about talent because at the end of the day, well, A, we're in the talent mobility business, and B, a company is really just a collection of individuals working towards a common goal. How do you How do you source talent? How do you evaluate talent? What is your talent philosophy?
I sent I sent a text to John yesterday, and I said, "Dude, why did you say exactly what I was going to say?"
I took your talking points.
But I have to say, so again, I'm a person who's grown up in this industry, right? I got into this industry at a very young age. I've had an opportunity to really sit in just about every seat you can imagine. And it's taught me a lot. But it's also given me, I think, a perspective and appreciation for what it takes to be a talent in this industry. And John was talking about it when he said, you know, he interviews everybody right up front. He wants to know whether or not he could go out, you know, to the bar with them or hang with them or whatever. And in effect, I'm saying the same thing. For me, it's all about a cultural fit. And I don't want to just kind of gloss over that and say, you know, everybody says that, but it is so vital. And in this industry, you really can teach the mechanics. That part can be done, but it's those core skills, those competencies that are so vital that talk about empathy and problem solving and listening. Listening is such a critical skill, and it's one that when you're interviewing, you know, it's kind of like what we're going through right here. As much as I'd like to listen, well, that's not the role I'm in. I'm supposed to be talking. And in an interview for an applicant, let's say, it's difficult to put them in that position, but I'm definitely looking for those signs of those abilities. But again, taking talent and bringing them in at the earliest opportunity within the organization and allowing them to flourish. As I've said, because we're part of a growing organization, right? So I don't know tomorrow whether we're going to need a different department or we're going to need a different, as we move into consumer services, what that looks like, technology. So I'm really looking for innovators, and again, trying to stay away from buzzwords, but they're so true, that have that entrepreneurial mindset that says, you know, yeah, the job description hasn't been written today, but here's how I see it. You take somebody like Raphael, and I mention him in particular because he's been on the show, but I have a huge team of people who are of like mind in that way. But Raphael, he demonstrated a unique gift. There was a fantastic opportunity for us to showcase it, both at our conference and other places. And I'm looking for those opportunities. So that's how I look at it.
Yeah, and I think that's really, you know, I mean, he's a great example too. I mean, of skill sets that you don't find everywhere, right? And I think a great case study in the value of diversity to organizations and bringing in diverse skill sets, viewpoints, you know, and everything, because he brought that storytelling element, you know, to your organization. And storytelling is such an underrated skill right now. You know, and it's always been important, but I think in a way now it's even more important because the opportunities to tell stories is more prevalent, right? Right now, you guys have a conference every year, right? Yeah. You can get on LinkedIn, you can get on YouTube, you can get on Facebook, you can tell your story as many times as people care to watch it, right? So, you know, I think that's really forward thinking. So let me ask you this now. So now you bring in, you know, wonderful talent to the organization. How do you decide who makes it to kind of that next level, or who has a seat at, you know, we talk about seat at the table all the time in mobility, right? For our corporate friends, right? Yeah. But, you know, within every organization, there's a table, you know, and how do you decide as a leader who has a seat at the table in your organization?
For me, it's really about diversity, but diversity in all aspects, right? And most importantly, diversity in thought. And I'm always looking for that contrary viewpoint, because it's kind of in that space between that great ideas come. And so creating an environment where that's embraced is
well,
really
and how do you create that environment? Because I mean, you know, and you talk about entrepreneurship being a skill set that you hire for or whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the end of the day, we're working, you know, the folks are working for a corporation, they're working for a company, right? So
Yep.
while we want entrepreneurial people, it isn't, you know, it isn't their show. It's a company, it's a team sport, not an individual sport. So how do you strike that balance? I mean, it seems like these are almost kind of conflicting. I mean, I see where you're going, but how do you balance that?
I look for talent that makes me want to say no, or I disagree, or have a different viewpoint to the thing they just said and the thing that they're passionate about, because it causes me to stop and causes me to listen and think about what I'm hearing them say, right? I want in my organization people who aren't afraid to ruffle a few feathers. And so those are the things I look for, and those are the things that get me excited when I'm having a one-on-one conversation or in a larger environment.
How do you elicit that feedback? So I mean, I struggle with this sometimes. When, you know, sometimes I'm great as an individual contributor, but as a leader, sometimes I feel like I struggle with feedback. Sometimes not getting enough of it, sometimes getting too much of it, you know, and how to elicit that feedback and use it, and then decide what's valuable, what's not valuable. What tips would you give me and other people watching this on that?
Well, I mean, again, knowing that a few of my folks are listening, they might have, again, a contrary opinion, which I love.
If Bob is lying, just call it out here in the comments, okay? Just kidding.
But the fact of the matter is, it's got to be an environment where there's already established trust. So first and foremost, I'm trying to make sure that they know it is, in that regard, a safe environment, right?
Yeah.
But it's also a welcoming of pushback, meaning if they're offering an opinion and I'm pushing back, I'm not pushing back because I want to stifle that opinion or anything. It's the salesperson in me saying, I'm trying to convince you of my opinion.
Yeah.
And I'm looking for a little bit of that in return.
Interesting. William Wiggins chimes in here. Love the contrarian feedback mindset. Very important for growth in all areas. Yeah, I think people that can accept, you know, there was somebody said, or I read somewhere, the ability to hold two conflicting ideas in your mind at the same time is a sign of intelligence.
Well, maybe it is, but it's also very frustrating.
It is. Well, but two things can be true at the same time.
Yeah, it can.
Right?
Yeah. In fact, one of the personality profiles that we go through, it's called a Harrison assessment, and the Harrison assessment actually does that. It says it takes the things that you most like, but they're contrary, and says in an equilibrium, they're actually a benefit. And so it measures it from a statistical standpoint and says, in all of these various areas, these quadrants, you're going to tend to make good decisions based on your viewpoints of both. Interesting.
Vicky says, yes, I'm good at the contrary. This is great.
Totally.
Victoria McCullough says, but can the person who's been, okay, so it's kind of going back to the talent question. Can the person who's been in the industry and has ideas be able to get past your recruiter when applying for a specific position? How do people get past, you know, and this is your organization, but also generally speaking, how do people that really feel like they have something to offer and bring to an organization, how do they maybe get past some of the processes and protocols?
It's a fantastic question. And, you know, the questions that get asked at the recruiter level are obviously standard and sanitized, right? We're an equal opportunity employer. That's what you're supposed to do, and that's the way it should be. But from my opinion, I wouldn't necessarily call it an end around, but I would call it networking. And networking, like we're doing now, is in a different style and in a different environment. You're able to convey your thoughts, your ideas, your perspectives. So this type of engagement is what I encourage, whether it be live, like we're doing now, or at a networking event, or just social media posting, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so Reed, DM Bob. That's how you do it, Victoria. Just DM Bob. So I want to kind of pull back a little bit and go broader. We're running a little bit short on time, and there's a lot of things I want to talk to you about. But I love hearing people's stories, and I love understanding how people got where they are. And I wanted to ask you, were there any kind of events in your life or moments or inflection points perhaps that really kind of informed your global mobility career and where you are today?
Another good question. And I would say there are too many to cover, certainly in the time we have here. But one that I would go back to is, I'd mentioned earlier that I've relocated several times. Mm-hmm. I also have 4 kids and 3 grandkids. And so those 4 kids of mine, were in tow every single one of those moves.
Wow.
And I would say, in retrospect, my level of empathy that I have for people who go through this has changed somewhat. And in the sense of, I can see the psychological trauma that a move can cause. And so if I were to sort of characterize, sort of the first half of my relocation journey, had it all together, the family that I was moving, the kids that were moving at the time, age-wise and whatnot, handled it just wonderfully. And so it's not complacency, but maybe confidence that, okay, yeah, I've counseled, thousands of transferees. I'm moving my family. Everything's great. I've got this figured out. It's no problem.
Right.
Until it is a problem.
Until it's your stuff too, right? Until it's you and your family on the line, your bed being moved and all that kind of stuff.
And different. And so when it became a problem, it just reinforced to me, we sort of casually sometimes or commonly throw out that, that stat that relocation is the 3rd most stressful thing. I get it. We've all said it. But when you actually go through it and you actually encounter that stress, and it's deeper and more impactful than you ever thought it would be, it does change your perspective.
It goes from an abstraction to a reality so quick,
So to sum that up, I think the thing that it did for me was, and I've shared this with my team, particularly this past year, is sort of that realization that, we talk about all of the celebration going on, not celebration, but notable appreciation that's offered in social media and whatnot for all of our first responders, right? During COVID, it was the medical community, and we've talked about, all the different types of first response and why that's a big deal, and it is. And I'd like to, offer that I think the counselors in our industry are every bit as much a first responder, right? And if you think about what, again, they're charged with doing and managing that family who's maybe going through the trauma I just described and having to navigate all of that.
Sure.
Now, exponentially ramp it up with the impacts of COVID, not only for the family that they're moving, but in my mind, for also them, right? We're all at a point in our lives where we're sick of this. Thank God we can take off our masks if we're vaccinated.
Yeah, I saw that today. Masks are no longer required indoors even. I saw, which was
clearly right? But
crazy
clearly
to
we're
think.
coming out of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But the impacts are still there, and I see it, and I think I don't know that I have certainly the answer, but it's maybe something I'd like to call our collective industry attention to, which is to say, the mental health of our first responders is of issue, and are there things we can be doing again as an industry to recognize that?
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
and if I'm not mistaken, this is also Mental Health Awareness Month. So the timing is perfect.
There you go. Perfect. No, I love it. I love it. I think you're so right. And shout out to the whole industry that really rallied around our transferees and assignees this year as they were stuck all over the place and having to figure it out. And, it's so funny. We talk to global mobility professionals all the time, corporate folks, and people think that they must not be very busy nowadays because nobody's moving. And in fact, their workload's going way up. Meanwhile, half their team's been furloughed, and
That's
they're
right.
over here busier than a one-arm paper hanger, as we say down south. So, hey, but you know what, Bob? Let's do a quick pivot, right? Because hey,
let's do it.
we got to iterate. We got to pivot. We're innovative and progressive here. We got to change with the times. And I think it's time for a top five. You got a top five for me, Bob?
I got a top five.
Whoa, what's your top five, Bob?
Ladies and gents, the top 5 pontoon songs. And this is not just any top 5, right? There's going to be people out there that want to debate, the best food in Chicago or where's the best pizza. I get it. But I don't think there's a debate for the top 5 pontoon songs.
I don't know. I mean, are there strong opinions out there in LinkedIn land? Can people
I hope
put
there
this
are.
in the comments? Let's let Bob know. Let's give Bob. Bob likes feedback. He likes contrarian point of views. He's already said that. Let's go ahead and get contrarian in the comments. I want to know if Bob's top 5 pontoon songs are going to get you on the lake this summer. It is the summertime. It is a beautiful day here in Texas. I can't wait to get on the lake. Bob, what are we listening to on the lake? Number 5.
Okay, so number 5. We can't have a top 5 pontoon songs without pontoon being in the top 5. So Pontoon by Little Big Town. Why is that on there? For just the reason I just said. But I got to give a shout out to Liz Martin because, again, I try to have a wide-ranging taste in music, have to be when you're a DJ. So she introduced me to Little Big Town. The Boondocks, I think it was the song.
Oh, Boondocks is great. Yeah.
Right? So when this came out, I said, this is a no-brainer pontoon song. So when you're on Bob's Pontoon, and trust me, I got that cooler of PBR. I've got, wine for the ladies.
Nice.
And I'm out there causing havoc with Pontoon and Little Big Town.
And I want to know what your top 5, if you're watching this right now, Bob, this is great. If you're watching this right now, I want to know what song are you looking forward to listening to on the lake, on a boat. I don't care if you live next to a lake. I don't care if you have a boat. Maybe you can't even swim. You don't want to go near the water. Pretend. Okay, just pretend. Put it in the comments. What is your top song to listen to on the lake? Bob, what's number 4?
All right. Number 4. I hope there are Nickelback haters out there. And I know some millennials are going to be in that Nickelback hater crowd. However, this is a must on any pontoon. In fact, there's a guy on our lake that he'll swing around on his boat. And I call him Nickelback because why? Every time he's coming around with his kids and water skiing and all of that, he is playing Rockstar by Nickelback. It's a great tune.
Can you just hum a bar or two for us?
No, I will not.
I was like so excited, Bob. You had me. I feel like we're like 2 drinks away.
Standing in line with clubs I never get in.
Yeah, there we go. Hey, that did it for me. I love it. Nickelback does get a bad rap. Haters gonna hate. Nickelback, I mean, proof's in the pudding. Number 3.
Number 3. You cannot have a top 5 anything when it relates to summer without having ZBB on the list, right? So toes in the water, butt in the sand.
Something's in the sand. I don't even know.
Yeah.
You're in the sand, butts and beer. Yeah. I don't know. Toes in the sand. There you go.
Yeah, I'm keeping it clean. It's a family show.
Toes
However, it's a great Now, I didn't put any Jimmy Buffett on here, but to me, Jimmy Buffett, ZBB, they're all kind of in that same, vibe.
I think Zach Brown Band is the new Buffett.
It is.
It's that new chill island vibe, kind of thing. Totally. I get it. Let's see here. We got some people chiming in here. I said, what's your top song to listen to on the lake? We got some interesting submissions here. Keith is just Dust in the Wind.
He's chilling. Dust in the Wind.
Dust in the Wind. Dust in the Wind is, Dust in the Wind. Maybe around dusk.
Yeah.
I mean, that's almost too chill for me.
Exactly. I have a whole different setup for late night pontoon cruising.
Yes, that's different. Yes, summer breeze. Okay. Yeah. All right, cool. I get it. Melissa Moore coming in here. What's up, Melissa? Cruising.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Is that the Stylistics or is that Lionel Richie? I don't even know.
No, it's
I have no idea.
Smokey Robinson, no?
Smokey Robinson. Melissa, can you straighten me out, please? I'm so sorry. I apologize. I'll see you on Happy Hour later. Melissa Moore sitting on the dock of the bay. There's Otis Redding. Sitting on the dock of the bay. All right, that's not a bad one. Also, too slow for me though. Too slow.
Well, I mean, again, no judgment, no haters, but I will say, the vibe I'm going for is party vibe.
Yeah, party vibe. All right, number 2.
Okay. Now, this I struggled with this one because it really should be number 1. Because I mean, there's a great line in what's the name of the movie? Anyway, it doesn't matter, name of the movie. But the great line in that movie is, if you were stranded basically and you're the last person on earth, what's the one album you'd want? And it's Bob Marley. I mean, it's just such a...
Is it Bob Marley Legend, like with the top,
Yes.
like the greatest hits of all time, Bob Marley? Yeah, that's a great one. Got that.
Top to bottom. So Three Little Birds, you cannot go wrong. My kids, their eyes do roll a little bit when it comes on. My granddaughter, who now has her own taste in music, she does the same thing. But I love the fact that they all know the words.
Yeah. I was gonna sing a little bit, and then I started seeing some of the comments coming in. Vicky, yes. Sorry, Vicky, I totally blew that. I apologize. You're absolutely right. Keith Mickelson, rum shaker. He said, "Oh yeah, you want a party, Bob? I got your party right here." Zoom. All right, Evan Miller's out there raiding the fridge. Just got the cooler. Thanks again, Bob. Appreciate you up at the lake house. That's great. Fantastic. This is so fun. Yeah, Three Little Birds is a lot of fun. There's a lot of great Bob Marley. Now, top 5 Bob Marley songs would be a good one as well.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a good one. All right, so if this isn't number 1,
so okay, listen. I want, before you show number 1, I want it known. This is not a recent phenomena. This is not me jumping on the bandwagon. This is a guy who went to Joe Louis Arena and saw this performer twice in 3 days. Yes, I'm talking about none other than go. That's right, Purple Rain, Prince. You cannot have exactly. You cannot.
Timmy, where did Tim just come from? He just came in, left. Tim, you're on mute anyway. I don't know what you said. It was probably epic. Purple Rain.
Yeah, it's a must, and everybody loves to sing it. Everybody's out on the boat, swaying their arms.
Yeah,
it's the thing.
Nice. That's awesome. That's fantastic. What do you think out there? You're watching this right now. Bob's top 5. What do you think? Did he miss anything? I know that there's got to be. Keith Mickelson, no way. It wasn't Rum Shaker. How could it not be Rum Shaker? Lena Anderson, yes, Prince. Good. Vicky Caldwell saying there's also the cover by D'Angelo. I'm a big D'Angelo fan, so there we go. Rum Shaker. There we go. Michael Falia, Gotta Love Prince. Always an epic song to yell at the top of my lungs.
Absolutely. Now, the one song I didn't put on here that I am guilty of doing at, I'll admit, 2 a.m. on my lake in the dark would be Pour Some Sugar on Me, Def Leppard.
Yeah. Somehow we all knew that was coming.
Sometimes.
No, this is great. This is awesome, Bob. I feel like I'm
fun.
on the lake with you right there. I hope Evan leaves that boat just as he found it.
Absolutely.
I do. Where's the lake, Bob? Where do I go?
It is. Hang on, let me make sure I get this right. Yep.
Is this the Mitt?
Right here. Yep.
What is that?
Right.
Like Midland or where is that?
Yeah, it's about 45 minutes north of Grand Rapids.
Okay, Grand. Okay, yeah, okay. So
Just a little,
towards the
just
west
a little
side.
tiny. Yep, tiny little place.
Nice.
It's perfect vibe for me.
Awesome. I love it. This has been a lot of fun. Everybody that commented, this is great. Vicky's on fire right now. That's great. Oh gosh, Vicky, this is great. Michael Flea, I love the Def Leppard mention. There's definitely a part of a summer soundtrack if you ever heard one, for sure, for sure. Thanks everybody out there who got into the comments. This is great. Who hung with us through the LinkedIn technical difficulty. We see you on Facebook now. There's a ton of people hung in there until the end. This is awesome. Fantastic, Raphael. I need to lock in my date on the lake. Everybody needs a date on the lake.
Sure.
With Bob Portale, I think, after that. This is great. Let me ask you though, Bob, why don't you, leave us with a final thought, if you don't mind. What do we need to be thinking about?
Yep. So again, if I were to sum it all up, I would say my focus is, as we begin to emerge and figure out what this next normal is, that a lot of the things we've been talking about will come into play. So those consumer services, how can we as an industry adapt? It's the mental health. How can we recognize the professionals who are delivering on that front line, and not only recognize them, but propel them in such a way that this is a career choice for them, that they stay in the industry. So those are the things that I'm committed to.
Nice. Love it. Great thought. Bob, we're not on tomorrow, so you have a wonderful weekend.
You as well.
Everybody out there, thanks for being here. It's always better when you are. We will see you next week. Take care, everybody.
Thank you, Ben. Bye.